I already told Stanley my contract will finish in May. So I quit my job and I'm going to go 6 months to Indonesia, stay with him in Manado and only train and go as deep as possible if I can.
Good. Jonathan?
You should ask Stanley for a job.
Yeah, next year.
For me, I will try and compete in as many competitions as my schedule allows. But I try not to set targets where I say I go this competition I'm going to break records. Because for me what I realize is even though yes I do go for competition, the expectation or the goal targets actually work against me. It gives stress. So for me my style is I always try and tell myself that the numbers don't matter. And as long as I enjoy the dive, as long as I enjoy the training process, that's what works for me. So with that, along that train of thought, I'll compete, but whether or not I will try and go for other record attempts, we'll see how my training goes.
What is confirmed for me this year is next month's that competition in Pangao. Other than that, nothing is set in stone yet. I used to be very number driven, number oriented. I have a set number I want to achieve and do that until I ruptured my eardrum last year. So it was a wake up call and said, maybe it's not about setting aggressive goal and try to achieve it and give yourself X amount of time. I think freediving is just something that you cannot manhandle it. You cannot manhandle down to 60, 70 meters depth and expect your physical tolerance could take it if you're not ready. So I agree with what Jonathan said. I think after that little incident, I find that ultimately you have a goal. If you ask every competitive divers, they will have a goal in their mind, but putting a timeline to it is a new ball game, a whole different ball game. So I try not to put a timeline. I have some numbers in my mind that I want to do before I get too old. But when I can do it, it's really as good as my body will accept it.
Okay, but Stanley has actually set a new Indonesian depth record about 2 months ago, right?
In Bali, yeah.
Is there any more?
Yeah, and I'm excited to go to Philippines next month, this month actually, because like I told you guys before that it's good to have like different approach, because for me it's not a competition, it's more like a depth holiday. So more enjoyable, more positive, more fun. So I never care about the depth. Like Prof said 2 months ago, I did 73 meters. I never think about it. I just dive and then, oh, that's another PB. Like my last personal best in constant weight is 65. And then I can do 73. So I never set goals. I just, like I told you before, this is just like a holiday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We still have some time. Can I invite questions from the floor? Anyone has any panelists? Yes. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Emma. Azwa and Azam, I think you're into sports before joining freediving. Just a comparison compared to the sport that you have done before. The difficulty of freediving compared to other sports, how is it?
It's totally different because I cannot say it's not physical demanding. and it also depends on the disciplines. For example, like static, maybe you don't need to do it, there's no physical involved, but it really involves a lot in the mental aspect. But which is now I focus more on the dynamic. It's really involved a lot in the physical because like we really need to swim as long as we can. So and towards the end, because like we hold our breath, we're not like breathe. Maybe like when we run, we always breathe. You know, we can still like try to experiment many things. But when we hold our breath, it's like we have many limitations. Because what we take in the beginning, that is what stay in our body till the end. But of course, the composition will change. For example, the oxygen, especially because our body need the oxygen. So and we are doing sports, which is like maybe the oxygen will go faster, slower, run out faster and slower. So it also depends on how you train your body with that. But I find it more challenge in terms on physiological because you know it's more like especially in the pool, it's more like your desire to continue. But sometimes maybe you have you in your mental aspect you're still strong, but in the end your body already give up. Like for freediving, this is like you need to maintain everything. You need to make sure everything synchronized. It's not just like you have a strong mental, but you need to also have a good your body also prepare for a long breath hold session. Otherwise, like if one thing collapses and then the other also cannot work. So yeah, this is for me. It's more like on the physical part, on the mental part.
Yeah, physical exercise like running and triathlon I used to do is a bit different from free diving, because running, let's say after work or when you are tired, I can still run, and also swimming or cycling. But free diving training, if you are tired, just take a rest. Yeah, if I go for training, it will be just like just wasting time, and most of the time I find out there is no quality in the training, because the most important in free diving is you must have enough rest, enough sleep, and so on. It's more demanding. It's what happens in your body actually. It's day to day is different. It's how you feel when you wake up on that day. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any more questions from the floor? There's a microphone there, set for just introduce yourself and any more questions? Just one more question. Same one.
Yeah, since no one asking, then I'll just ask for the opportunity. Like, okay, so what's your advice for beginner freedivers if they want to venture to competitive freediving? What's the next step? And yeah, your advice.
So for my advice, first thing first is like make sure that you have good knowledge how to train. Otherwise, if let's say you just like simply try and error, so your body will maybe need more time to discover your new potential. But if let's say you have a good knowledge and then you start with a good practice, then you first is like you can find your potential maybe like in not fast track, but at least like you discover faster. And then most important thing is like you're doing it right. So usually like for me, I always like I like to do slow stage progression. Some people like they always like as well, you can go more, of course, but for me like I don't have to compete with other people all time, because like for me it's more like to discover more. So for the beginner, it's like first competition, try to make it more memorable for you, because like more important is like we want to have white card, because we want to make it memorable. So that's why if my first competition I just set 28 meters. I remember the judge there, because like everyone is very confused like what to announce for the depth, because in depth discipline we have to announce our dive. Otherwise, yeah, because they will need to set the line, and we cannot dive deeper from our announce depth. So the judge there, John Paul, I remember he said like, guys, it's not about like make a new PB or just make your first dive, make sure that you get white card so that you'll be happy. And free diving is not just about hold your breath and dive deep, it's many things for you to discover. So take your time, and then of course first is like you have to start compete, otherwise you will not know what you will experience. And free diving competition is very fun because for us we always support each other. Sometimes I remember in Sabang I asked, hey John, be my coach, because like at that time it's only me and Paul compete. Me, Paul and Razia compete from Malaysia. So, but Razia, like, she also need to do her dive, and then I have to ask someone else to be my coach. Then I asked Jonathan. So we are very supportive because like we want to make sure everyone will get the white card. So this is the environment in free diving competition. So start compete, and then you will find new things.
One more. Yeah, as a beginner, first you need to get the instructor, get a course, do a course, either AIDA or SSI or whatever. Once you understand, then under AIDA International, they have a specialty, competition free diver. So AIDA judge, who is also an instructor, can teach that competition free diver course. Yep.
So just what they added, yes. I think if you're interested, you need to know basic freediving. The first step is to take a course. And during this course, a lot of it is they'll teach you safety, awareness, but it's also a process of self-discovery where you know yourself and you understand what you can do, but you also understand what you cannot do, in the sense that you know where your limits are. Then from there, you have a good sense of freediving. If you want to go to a competition, the next step is to actually find somebody who does competition. There are people who have been there, done that, who have been in the same shoes as what you're going through. They can guide you on the processes and to elaborate. For example, what we did in Singapore for first timers, for our first competition last month, we did a little workshop over a period of 2 days, and we sit down. This is nutrition. This is how to prep the 2 days before. This is the prep the night before. This is the prep in the morning. This is what you do when you go there. This is how you make your space so you make sure everything is there. Because the last thing you want is you lose your gear. It happens. So I think to answer your question is, do the course first, understand yourself, then talk to